Hello fellow YouTubers. Now, today I wanted to take a different spin on things. Normally I'm more critiquing of the modern WWE product, and that didn't seem right. So I figured what I would do is I would show the WWE how they can make a new star in about half a year. So buckle in, because this is my first, fantasy booking, I guess. So it's either going to go really well or it's going to go really poorly. And I think I picked a superstar who makes it really easy for me, and that is Cesaro. So first off, here's what I would do. Survivor Series, forget about it. Doesn't matter. That's not going to affect Cesaro's push, because more than likely the person eating the pin, if they get eliminated, would be Sheamus. That's at least my thought. So he should be good. Now, this should lead to a breakup between Cesaro and Sheamus, and they're going to build to a feud at, I think it's Roadblock this year, which will be the Raw pay-per-view around Christmas time, so the end of December, right? They'll have plenty of time to build the match up, make it seem like a big deal, and if you really want to go in on it, and again, you should, give it a good stipulation. Now, you've already seen them wrestle 9 matches in the last, 6 months. So if I were going to do it, I would do some sort of weapon stipulation. Or, and this is just my preference here, a last man standing match. Now, that's just because we haven't seen one in a while. I think it could be pretty good. But I want Cesaro to win pretty handedly. When I say that, I mean, not necessarily that we want to bury Sheamus, but we want to make it to where it seems like something has clicked in Cesaro, and he's figured out how to win matches. Because it's predominantly been his issue so far. I know that the real reason is because Cesaro can't talk, but the problem for the casual viewer, if there are any casual viewers left, would be the way Cesaro ends up losing matches. So we're going to fix that. We're going to have him win handedly. It'll probably be a good match because, again, as we learned in their Best of 7 series, these two can actually put on a good match together. So anyway, the next night on Raw, we're going to do something that probably wouldn't happen, but it's key to this scenario. So we're going to have Tyson Kidd come out. Yes, Tyson Kidd, that guy we haven't seen in 18 months. I don't know why they didn't do this, but I had heard that he is actually officially retired. And again, he's another guy I never got, but it's whatever, because we can use Tyson Kidd. So Tyson Kidd comes out there, and he basically says, my career is over, and, the fans did like Tyson Kidd, just like they like Cesaro. So the fans are going to be upset, they're going to be cheering for him. Then we're going to have Cesaro come out, and, they're going to, embrace, they're going to have a good heart-to-heart moment. Enter Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. Okay, so they're going to come out and say, well, geez, if you guys were best buddies like we are, that wouldn't have happened to you, Tyson Kidd. Look, being best buds has gotten Kevin Owens the Universal Strap. You can basically build a story here. Basically, they're just insulting their friendship. And it's a fair point. I mean, Cesaro hasn't done anything about Tyson Kidd's injury at all. So, Cesaro is going to challenge both men. And obviously, Kevin Owens isn't going to accept the challenge because he's Kevin Owens and that's not what he does right now. So we'll have maybe the main event of Raw that night be a match between Cesaro and Jericho. The point being, Chris Jericho, good worker. Cesaro, a lot of people like him. Decent worker, I think. So it could be a good match. But we want Cesaro to win pretty dominantly again, because we want to instill it in everybody's brain that Cesaro is a big deal. That he can win matches. Because he hasn't. Much at all. So as we're progressing towards the Royal Rumble, I want there to be a Owens-Cesaro match. I want it booked for the Royal Rumble. No, Cesaro isn't winning the belt yet, don't worry. But I want that built up. Meanwhile, I want to have Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, a little bit of cracks forming. They've already started doing this, but, ramp it up a little bit. Not too much, because, again, we're not there yet, but... And, of course, one of the keys to this is we need to move the Shane McMahon-Brock Lesnar match from WrestleMania to the Royal Rumble. And a lot of you are going to say, why would WWE do that? They have a reason. Because they want to sell out this stupid stadium. They want to make the Royal Rumble feel like a big deal. Well, that match at WrestleMania won't be good. I think we can all agree on that. It's going to be a really crappy match. Sorry, but it will be. So we're going to move it to the Royal Rumble. That way people will buy the Royal Rumble, and hopefully some young stars grab the attention of the casual viewer who tunes in for this. So anyway, at the Royal Rumble, we want Owens to lose against Cesaro. But we want it to be done by DQ. Maybe Chris Jericho interferes. That would be the ideal way in my head. That maybe Chris Jericho comes out and attacks Cesaro, but the referee sees it, calls for the bell. Won't be that big a deal. I know it'll look bad for Cesaro, but it'll be okay. So anyway, then we're going to have Brock dismantle Shane. When Brock Lesnar fought Randy Orton at SummerSlam, and he just elbowed him in the face. I hated it, but it's going to work here. So we want that to happen. We want maybe an F5 that looks really brutal. I don't know how they're going to do it. Just make it to where it looks like Shane has been dismantled. So the next Raw pay-per-view is Fastlane. So on the way there, we want Shane McMahon in a hospital, okay? Because he can't compete. He can't be in the ring. This will probably happen on SmackDown. But we want him to announce that he has come up with an opponent for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Somebody he knows will defeat Brock Lesnar. And of course, this will get the internet going. They'll be thinking, it's Samoa Joe, it's Shinsuke Nakamura. No, it's going to be Cesaro. I'll spoil it, but anyway, Cesaro is going to go up to Mick Foley, and he's going to ask him for a rematch for the Universal Championship. And you know what's going to happen? Mick Foley's going to decline him and say, no, such and such has the rights for it. I don't know who you want that to be. I guess if Finn Balor's cleared to compete, you can put Roman Reigns in this spot. Hadn't really thought that much through it, because it doesn't really matter. Owens is going to retain at Fastlane. But then, on the way to Fastlane, we want to have Stone Cold Steve Austin come back out. Obviously, fans are going to lose their minds. They're going to be like, oh, Stone Cold. You know, stupid things the fans do for Stone Cold. I don't know. But what he's going to do is, for one, he's going to pump up WrestleMania, pump up the WWE Network. The things you'd expect Stone Cold to do. But then he's going to be talking about how Cesaro should have a title shot at WrestleMania. Now, the reason this fits in is because on Austin's podcast, every time I've heard, he will not stop talking about how much he loves Cesaro. So, for one, the people who listen to his podcast know he's being serious, and the people who don't, well, if they watched back then, they care what Austin thinks. And basically, it's just another mechanism to get Cesaro really over, but Mick Foley isn't going to budge. And that's okay, that's the idea. Owens wins against whoever, it doesn't really matter who. And then we're going to have a 6-man battle royale for the Universal title shot at WrestleMania. We're going to have Chris Jericho, we're going to have Cesaro, we're going to have Roman Reigns, Rusev, Big Show, and Rollins. Again, if Balor's back, you can throw Balor in there. Don't really care. I was trying to find a list of people who were strong enough to actually get that shot, and this was what I came up with. It's not a bad little group, but not that good either. But anyway, we're going to have Chris Jericho win, and he's going to win by accident. Like on Raw last week, when they had the Fatal 5-Way, and Kevin Owens just kind of fell on Jericho. We want something like that to happen, except with Jericho getting the pin, looking at the group of people, probably on the Big Show, because he's the one who can take the pin the most. We definitely don't want Cesaro being pinned. We want Cesaro still conscious and fighting in the ring to win this match, but Jericho wins it. Just by the skin on his teeth. But then, later on in the night, because that won't be the main event will be Kevin Owens retaining against whoever, it doesn't matter. We're going to have Shane announcing his substitute. He's going to appear on Fastlane, again, hyping up WrestleMania. And 2, to announce the person he picks, Cesaro. Now, why is this a big deal, you say? Well, because the Cesaro-Brock Lesnar feud makes sense. Okay, hear me out. Okay, for one, Paul Heyman was managing Cesaro back in, I think, 2014, right? So you can bring that back up, and how Paul Heyman just kind of dropped him. And since then, Cesaro's been, I don't know if you would want to say floundering, but you'd probably sit there and say, oh, I've found my ability, now I'm this great superstar, things like that. Heyman can call Austin and Shane cowards, insinuating Cesaro is as well. The reasoning for this would be the fact that, Shane, even though he did stand up to Brock, he didn't put up that much of a fight, and now he's running away finding somebody else to do his business for him. Something like that, just to hype up the crowd for the match, basically. We're going to have Tyson Kidd come out on some Raw leading up to it, and again, I don't know if they do it, but put Tyson Kidd up for that F5. You don't want him to actually get F5'd. Like, no, we don't want Tyson Kidd dying, but having him up there, with Brock holding him up there, and he's going to spin him, and then maybe have Cesaro come out there and just lay right into Lesnar. And his injury was a neck injury and spine, I want to say neck and spine. So if you do it correctly, wow, the fans could be really against Lesnar. Then we want to have Chris Jericho turn face on Owens after Owens acts like Manny will be an easy defense. Realistically, what I want to happen is I want Owens basically to say, we're going to have the finger poke of doom relived in WWE at WrestleMania. And he's going to say, Jericho, you're laying down for me. And that's what you're going to do. Again, the friction's been building. So if they just postpone it a little bit, then you can continue having Jericho be the same person he is. Just kind of break the team up. And it won't hurt either guy. Realistically, it'll help them both. But then you can split off Roman Reigns or even Rusev off to fight Goldberg. I don't know if Goldberg's coming back. I don't really know what the plan is for anybody on the roster, really. So, problem solved. Then we can have Cesaro at WrestleMania beat Lesnar clean. Yes, because that's way more important than the title is at this point. So that's why we're doing it. Then we can have Owens retain in a hard-fought match against Jericho. You want to have it to be a hard-fought match because, for one, it's WrestleMania. We got to have a good match. And two, by doing this, you kind of put in everybody's mind that, well, Cesaro beat Jericho. So he beat him pretty easy, too. But anyway, then we can have Goldberg go over whoever he's fighting. Again, if he's fighting Rusev, it only kind of makes sense. I mean, if Goldberg's coming back to lose to Lesnar at Survivor Series, then you might as well give him the win here. But I don't know what the next April Raw pay-per-view is. But then you can have Cesaro fight for it. Or if you want to wait, you have plenty of guys to kind of feed to Cesaro in the time being. You have Big Show, you have Chris Jericho, you have Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, or Rusev to, keep having Cesaro over so big. You have options. But in the perfect world, you'd set up Cesaro to take that belt off ASAP. Because realistically, you would have Samoa Joe debut on the Raw after WrestleMania. And the reason I say this and connect the two thoughts is I want to say Tyson Kidd sustained his injury against Samoa Joe. So while you're using Tyson Kidd to help boost Cesaro up, you'd be able to use that again to get the crowd against Samoa Joe and to build that feud up even more. So, again, in my booking here, you'd have Cesaro going on a lengthy title reign. Again, he could beat out the guys we've already listed. Granted, I hear Big Show's retiring after Mania, but there's still a list of people. When he does win the belt, you can have him, put Kidd or Austin out there and, just celebrate with him. Because I don't want to say Kidd got over better than Cesaro did, because that's not even close to true. But by bringing out either guy, knowing that they've retired due to injuries and everything, and then both throwing their support behind Cesaro, it'll be a real feel-good moment, and it would work. So that's about all I have to say. I know it went a lot longer than I'd hoped. Hopefully it didn't go that long. But if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, share, subscribe. If you have a better idea for how to get Cesaro the world title in like 6 months, comment that. If you have an idea for another person I could do this for, again, comment that. And I'll try to not put Brock Lesnar in that scenario, because that'd be a really lame way to do this. But that's about all I have to say. So thanks for watching. Peace out.